No one chooses to be a refugee. It is a situation forced upon them at no fault of their own. And not every refugee journey or experience is the same. There is not one story that can encapsulate the experience of all refugees. Some refugees come to Australia via boat, asylum seekers, and others by plane. Some have spent many years in refugee camps awaiting resettlement in another country such as Australia, whilst others may have spent time in a detention centre or informal settlement location. The United Nations Convention on the Status of Refugees defines a refugee as someone who is unable or unwilling to return to their country of origin owing to a well-founded fear of being persecuted for reasons of race, religion, nationality, membership of a particular social group, or political opinion. An asylum seeker, a person who has fled their own country to seek sanctuary in another country and has applied for asylum, has the right to be recognised as a refugee and receive legal protection and material assistance. An asylum seeker must demonstrate that his or her fear of persecution in his or her home country is well-founded. The refugee experience is marked by loss and grief, family and community rupture, fragmentation and dislocation. Over 110 million people worldwide were forcibly displaced from their homes in recent years due to persecution, conflict, violence, and human rights violations. People can find themselves forcibly displaced from many countries. Refugees come to Australia through the humanitarian program. In the past 10 years, Australia has settled some 160,000 refugees. On average, 40% of refugees are children under 18 years of age. The refugee journey doesn't end when they arrive in their safe haven in a country like Australia. They have to rebuild their lives and start from scratch. Finding and securing stable employment is critically important to the successful settlement of refugees in the Australian community. It provides them not only with a stable income to support themselves and their families, but also eases their transition to a new society and culture by helping them stabilise housing, establish social connections, gain new skills, and increase their English capacity. Before employment options can be considered, strategies to support recovery and manage the ongoing effects of trauma, torture, grief, and loss are pivotal to ensuring successful resettlement with expert assistance. Many refugees report that finding employment is one of their key priorities after addressing health, housing, and accessing education for their children. However, data reveals that only 6% of refugees find work within 6 months of arrival, and that only 23% are employed within 2 years of arrival. English language acquisition among refugees in Australia continues to be the primary challenge for genuine workforce participation. Refugees have historically made and continue to make positive economic, social, and cultural contributions to Australian society, demonstrating resilience and adaptability to new challenges. The barriers faced by refugees differ for every individual. Some common barriers to employment include limited English skills. Refugees from different countries will have different levels of English, depending on their pre-arrival education. Some may have had the opportunity to learn English in their home countries, whilst others may not have, due to limited, disrupted, or no education at all. Lack of Australian work experience. Newly arrived refugees are significantly disadvantaged as they lack any Australian-based work experience, which is often a prerequisite for employment in many industries. Similarly, although many refugees have qualifications in their home countries, they are often not formally recognised in Australia. Limited access to transport and affordable housing close to employment. When arriving in Australia, many refugees are placed in housing that is far away from employment in outer metropolitan areas and not necessarily easily accessible by public transport. Obtaining a driver's licence is also an expensive and drawn-out process. Lack of knowledge of Australian workplace culture and systems. Navigating new systems within an unfamiliar country is incredibly challenging for newly arrived refugees. For example, attending a job interview and being expected to essentially sell yourself can be counterintuitive to some cultures that value modesty and humility. Pressures of managing employment and domestic responsibilities. The responsibility for undertaking caring and household duties among refugees tends to fall disproportionately to women. For women, they often do not have the extended family members to care for children while they are at work. Discrimination in recruitment. Many refugees report facing racism and discrimination in the labour market, with employers refusing to hire those from refugee backgrounds due to physical characteristics such as cultural attire, hijabs, skin colour, foreign names, or applicants having foreign accents. A key myth to bust that is not a barrier is that a refugee in Australia receives full permanent residence on arrival. They have full work rights and access to services like Medicare and do not need employer sponsorship. Although it is important to note the barriers, it is equally important to note the immense resilience and strength demonstrated by refugees. Refugees are, by their very nature, survivors. Refugees have overcome significant adversity to be in Australia, and many bring with them a wealth of experience and knowledge. Empathising with the refugee journey will assist you in genuinely considering how they can add value to your company. Open minds and hearts will open the doors of opportunities for refugees to feel truly welcome and a sense of belonging in Australia.